friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a little update on the plants that I got from Aroid Market. So Aroid Market sent me plants about 2 months ago now, and I made a whole video about it, and now it's been 2 months and I want to show you where they are because we've had some good things and some not so great things. But I just want to show you the realities of it all because, to be honest, it was not my best import. I really struggled with a lot of the plants. A lot of them came with very, very yellow leaves. And I know that's like the reality of importing, but at the same time, it was a stressful time, and I was worried about whether or not some of the plants were going to live or not. So I want to show you how they're doing now, if they've lived, if they haven't, and all that. If you don't know me already, my name is Emma and I make houseplanting content all over the internet, so if you want to follow along with my houseplanting journey and learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. Right, let's get into these updates. So the first one I want to update you on, as you can see, I've not got it in my hands, and it is the Hoya Dischidia Major, which I'm pretty sure is not even a Hoya at all, it's just a Dischidia. What the heck is this? What? Is it just dead? Is that it? I don't know. I'm confused. I am 95% sure that the plant they sold me was just a dead one. When I like googled pictures of it, when I looked for it on Instagram, like this sort of thing was what I was finding, very green and plump. But what they sold me was like super dry. I was dumbfounded. I had no idea what the heck this thing was, and I think a good portion of my confusion was due to the fact that it was dead and it was sold to me as a live plant, and even the picture they had on their like website looked dead. So I think I was just really confused about the whole thing. But I tried to put it in moss for a while and see if I could revive it, get it to do anything, and to be honest, it just got worse and worse. And then just before I went away on holiday, Cleo knocked it on the floor and just like half the pods just fell off, and at that point I threw it away because I was like, what's the point of having this thing that's just dead in my house, wasting my time and my energy. So unfortunately that is a plant that did not survive, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't living when I got it. So I don't know. I have no idea what went on there. I don't know why they were selling them, but they were. It is what it is. Anyways, let's move on to maybe some better news. So the next plant I want to talk about is the Dieffenbachia yellow variegated. This is what it was looking like right when I got it. Okay, well, it's not ideal. I mean, this leaf is stunning. Look at that variegation in there. It's gorgeous. The roots, like, they feel pretty good. The thick ones feel nice and sturdy. The like thinner ones down the end feel pretty good as well. As you can see, I was a little bit worried. There was some yellowing leaves, and unfortunately I wasn't able to save that final leaf, and it did come off. But so far it is feeling pretty healthy. The remaining leaf that stayed is doing pretty well, and it does have some new growth that's coming in. It has been growing very slowly, but that is okay. I've just had it in perlite, and I think I watered it with distilled water for a while, but after the first few waters I just started using normal water, and I think, as far as I'm aware, it's growing. Look at that in there. Look at that gorgeous root. So it is obviously happy. I don't see any signs of rot in here. Should I pull it out? I'm gonna pull it out just to have a look. I'm a bit nervous about this, but I'm gonna pull it out. Let me grab a bowl really quick. So, let's properly have a look at the roots. So, it's definitely not 100% happy. Like, there is rotted roots in there that have just kind of come off. But to be honest, I've had a lot of, like, not issues of that with my imports, but it's happened quite frequently to a lot of them, and so it doesn't surprise me, and I'm not, like, afraid of it, if that makes sense. Like, because there are still some happy roots on here, like, it still has a very phenomenal root system. The roots have roots, so it's definitely not completely dying. The sort of rhizome that it's got feels okay. It doesn't feel rotted. So I'm, like, actually not worried about this at all. I was, like, as soon as I pulled it out, I was a bit scared because I was, like, seeing bits fall off. But I think it's perfectly fine. Also, I want to say that I'm acclimating this one outside of the cabinet, outside of any sort of acclimation conditions. It was a little bit too big for my acclimation box. Like, it's too tall and wide. And so I haven't had it in anything. I've just kind of had it out in my flat in, like, ambient conditions. So that might be why it's growing a little bit slower than it would have had it been in a more humid place or a brighter spot. It is in front of a grow light, but that's not on 100% of the time. So I think this is going pretty well. And I'm going to put it back in the perlite because I want these roots to continue to grow nicely. But I'm happy with this. It's doing really well. So the next plant I want to talk about is the Philodendron Paraiso Verde. Here's what it was looking like right when I got it. No. No. This makes me so sad. Oh. I could probably save this. It's got, like, very healthy nodes at the top, so if nothing else, I could always prop from those. Look how nice those roots are. I know there's, like, a lot of moss in there still, but, like, these are so healthy. I was afraid they were going to be all dried up because of, like, of the yellowing leaves, but they're not. Even though I was quite worried about it, it's actually been pretty okay. It has popped out a couple new leaves. I think this one's a new one. It did get a little bit Cleo shredded. Unfortunately, it lost its bottom and a bit of this lobe. I don't know why she decided to go after them, but she did. But, like, look at this root system in here. It is doing so well, and it's got a new leaf on the way, so we definitely can't complain there. I'm gonna pull this one out as well, just to make sure there's no rot in there. But I think this one's very happy. It almost might be ready to be pot up. So this one is also living just out in my living room. It didn't have any sort of acclimation, special humidity, whatever. So I was very curious to see how it would do, because normally as soon as I get an import, I would, like, put it somewhere with really high humidity in order to kind of mimic the climate it's a bit more used to. But I just wanted to see if it would work without me doing anything at all, and to be honest, it has. I've not been worried about these plants at all. They haven't shown any signs of, like, massive decline or anything. And this one's roots are doing so well. Like, look at that. They are so full. I am actually very tempted to pot this up. I might pot it up right after this video, but I think I'm going to put it in some pond in a sort of self-watering thing if I can, if I have one available to me. But I think it would really like it, and to be honest, I think it would really like something like a pole. I don't know if I have one available right now. I might do if I've got enough moss, but I think it would like something to help it stay up a bit more and give it some support to hopefully get some more like mature leaves. So yeah, I'm like really happy with this one. This is one of the ones I knew I was getting, and I'm really happy that it has turned out okay, because I was so worried that it was not gonna do well when I got it, but it's actually much better than I thought it would be. So the next one I want to talk about is the Hoya Galatica SP Sumatera, whatever it was. This is how it was when I got it. That doesn't look good. Oh, I mean, some of it's fine. Oh my god, this makes me so sad. Cause like, look at these leaves. Tell me those aren't the most beautiful leaves. I mean, the yellowy ones, that's not ideal, but like this sort of splashy variegation is insanely beautiful. Oh no. I don't think any of you would be surprised if I told you that it is no longer with us. I had it in the acclimation box with a lot of my other ones that I will show you in a second, and it just dropped leaf after leaf after leaf, and I thought I could try and save the stem or like the nodes or something, and there was just absolutely no saving it, which was such a shame. I was so sad about that one, because that was another one of my like sort of wish listy Hoyas, and it was just so sad that I lost it. I really liked it. So I'm going to have to like re-put that on my wish list, but it's okay. It's just one of those things that happens with importing. You can't win them all. It's just how it is, unfortunately. So it is what it is, but we carry on, and I'll show you what's inside the acclimation box now. So I did just do an acclimation box tour, but now we're actually gonna properly have a look at these plants so we can see how they're doing. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the Syngonium Yellow Variegated. This is how it arrived. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. So right off the bat, we do have a couple of casualty leaves, unfortunately, but there's two strong leaves in here. One of them is like fully new, which is exciting. So to be honest, these roots are actually looking pretty decent. They're like very long, which is awesome, and for the most part they're feeling very plump, and this is how it's doing now. It's doing okay. It probably could be a little bit better, but it's fine. I think it's just slightly too tall for the box, and so when I put the lid on, it gets a little bit crushed. I think it did lose a leaf to that, unfortunately, but it has grown more. It's definitely still producing growth, which is amazing, and the humidity is allowing like these aerial roots to grow really well, which is also super cool. But let's have a quick look at these roots. Off the bat, just from the outside of the cup, it does look like there are some healthy roots, but there are some dark spots in there as well, which make me think that there is probably rot in there, unfortunately. This is what they are looking like. To be honest, they're not that bad. The dark spots, which I thought might be rot, actually still feel pretty firm. Like there are a couple little bits of the like finer roots being not rotted, but just feeling like they can come off really easily. But for the most part, it just, like all of the main roots feel chunky, and none of them have like rotted ends, which is all you can ask for, really. So that's pretty good. I'm very glad about this one. I might put this in the slightly bigger cup. So before it was in this size, and I'm gonna move it up a size just because it could probably use slightly more space. But I am going to put it back because I don't think it's ready to be potted up. I mean, maybe it is. But I think this one is going to need to move outside of the little box I've got because it is too tall for it now. So I will move it somewhere else, maybe into the IKEA cabinet so it continues to get that high humidity. But I will move it there, and then once it's settled in there, then I can repot it because I don't want to like do too many things all at once and stress it out because that can cause issues. So may as well just keep it all together and stress it out one step at a time. The other Syngonium is a Syngonium white narrow, and this is how it showed up. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Ah. So many yellow leaves. Shoot. I mean, the leaves that are there and happy are gorgeous. If it had come with all of those leaves off already, I would have just been like, oh my goodness, this is like the most beautiful Syngonium ever. Like, oh, look how minty it is. It's so pretty. So they're not terrible, but they're not amazing either. I'm not exactly sure why I was so worried in there. There wasn't actually that much wrong with it. It didn't actually lose that many leaves, but I was just stressed. I think by the time it got to that plant, I was just like so done having yellow leaves that I was just like, everything is terrible. So yeah, it's fine. This one, on the other hand, though, doesn't look like it has very many healthy roots on it. It does look like it's had some new growth, but the new growth hasn't really kept the sort of narrow form of leaves. It's gone more into like the white butterfly sort of shape. Like more like this instead of this. So I'm not sure. One, if this is a white narrow. Two, if it's healthy. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more rot on this one than the other one. So that's what the roots are looking like. All of these dark ones, that's just rot. Like, oh, you can just peel them away. I know you're not supposed to just like rip them off with your fingers, but my scissors are far away, so it's what I'm going to do. So now that I've removed all of the rotten ones, that's kind of what we're left with, which is not a huge root system, unfortunately. So I think this one does need to stay in the acclimation box a little bit longer, and I'm going to put it back in the perlite to hopefully get it to root a little bit better. Sometimes I find acclimations take a really, really long time for some plants, where others just go so quickly and it feels like a few days later you can just pot them up. So it really depends on how they arrived with you and sort of like what condition they're in and the root system that they had already and how that is looking. If the roots came to you quite dry, the likelihood of them getting root rot is a lot higher, and if they came with not very many roots, it's going to take longer to get them to root. So it is just a bit of luck of the draw when it comes to importing and how quickly it takes for them to acclimate. But this one is definitely not ready yet, and I will put a little bit more water in the bottom of this to hopefully keep the perlite nice and damp. Another positive one is this. Well, kind of positive. Okay, so this is the Anthurium Silver Blush, and this is how it came. One, two. Okay, again we have some very, very decent roots. Like, pretty, like, sturdy, not too dry, and I think these are going to be completely fine. I'll put it in some water. I'm sure it'll be fine, because like these leaves are so intensely silver. Like, it almost looks like they're not that silver because they're almost all silver, so it looks like they've just got like dark green variegation. They don't, they're just entirely silver. Oh, those are insane. And here we are now. It is still fairly similar. I think this was the new leaf, and then it has since popped out another new leaf, which is super exciting. So it does smell of rot. So I think these roots, yeah, they just pulled straight off. Those roots are dead. But the good thing about this is as long as the, I think these roots, okay, that one's dead. I think these roots are all alive. So these tiny ones here. I did, like the bottom of the, it's not a trunk because it's so tiny, but the bottom of the plant, it is a bit mushy, so I'm going to have to chop it back a little bit further and then let it callus over, but hopefully it's okay because this is so freaking silver and gorgeous. I would absolutely love to keep this plant. If at all possible, I want to keep this plant because it is so freaking beautiful. It would be such a shame to lose it. I will change this water. I don't think I've changed it since I got it, so that's on me. But I do need to perform a tiny bit of surgery just to chop the bottom off, maybe put some hydrogen peroxide on it just to make sure that there's no rot in there, making sure it's nice and clean before I let it callus over, and then it'll go back into water and hopefully grow some new roots. So there's 2 more plants left. One of them was my favorite plant of the entire haul. It was the Philodendron Majestic. Holy cow! Oh my god. Do you see that? So it does have one tiny little yellow leaf at the bottom, which, like, fine. So the roots are super long, which is, oh my goodness, okay, it's so floppy. Super long, which is brilliant, but they're very fine roots, so I am quite nervous. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me show you what I've got here. So I've got essentially 3 plants worth. So when I got it, it was a big, long, like a single vine. And it was like super duper healthy. As you saw, like there was only one tiny yellow leaf on it, but the root system was not great. And so I pretty much immediately decided to chop this one up. There was no way I was going to lose this top cutting if at all possible. I needed to keep this because these leaves are, they're just so freaking stunning, and I'm so obsessed with them that I was gonna do everything in my power to make sure that it was okay. So I chopped it into several little bits. I think this is the bottom section because it's got these smallest leaves. It does have some roots in there. Let's see how they're doing. Sorry, this table has suddenly gotten very small. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, so like, do you see how tiny that root system is? There was no way that was going to support the entirety of those big leaves. It was just like almost waiting for failure, and so I just did not want that. And so I chopped it because these roots could potentially support this bit. And it looks like this one's even popped out a new growth point. So this leaf is new, came from here, which is a new growth point, which is very exciting. And it means that it doesn't hate me. The roots feel okay. There is a tiny bit of rot at the bottom of them, but for the most part they're fine. So I'm just gonna put it straight back and it will be okay. This one is definitely going to be staying in the acclimation box for a little while though, until it can get like better roots, because right now they are not fantastic. And then I have 2 middle cutting wet sticks. I guess, do they count as wet sticks if they had leaves on them? I don't know. But these are actually doing really, really well. So considering they had no roots on them when I got them, this one is starting to root in there. And it does have a new growth point. This leaf is from the new growth point. And then same with this one. It's got some roots in there. And then this is the new growth point. So they're actually doing really, really well. And I'm super excited to continue watching them grow. These, again, are also going to stay in the acclimation box because they need a lot more time. So both of those I put in perlite, and then the top cutting I put into moss. So the leaves are doing pretty well. It did have the 2 leaves to start with, and it does look like it's producing some new growth in there now, which is super exciting. But I wonder if it has rooted at all. Yay! Oh my goodness. I'm being like super careful with the roots right now because I do not want them to die, because this is like, this is the best thing from the haul. So I would like the fact that it's holding on to this moss is great. So that right there, that's a root. That's not a piece of moss. That is a root, which is so freaking exciting. It just means that we're on the right track here and that this thing is going to live. But it's definitely not rooted enough for my liking. It needs quite a bit more. So this one is also slightly too big for the acclimation box. It's a little bit tall, but I think it'll have to do for now, just because I don't quite want to put it in the cabinet yet. I don't think that's quite enough humidity because this is like very, very, very high humidity. I've never checked what humidity it is, but I know it is super duper high. It is basically a sealed box, like there's condensation on it. And there's like a layer of water in the bottom because something spilled and I was too lazy to clean it out. So it's fine. But yeah, it's just doing super well. So this is just gonna go back in here and hopefully become a big happy plant one day. So that's it for the acclimation box. And now I have one more plant, which I've done last because I need to wash my hands after touching it. It is the quote-unquote variegated Sodiroi. I am still unsure about this plant. This is what it looked like when I got it. So it doesn't have that many roots on it. And they don't necessarily look the happiest. So I might have to chop and prop this one as well, but that's what they're looking like. As you can see, it looks pretty much exactly the same, and I am still really excited about it, and I think it is beautiful, but I still do not know whether or not the sort of variegation is a like virus or not. I'm gonna hopefully try and get it tested, but it's difficult because there's lots of different strains of mosaic virus, bless you Cleo, and you need to know which strain it is in order to test, so I'm not quite sure which test to buy. But I have just kind of kept this on a shelf in my bedroom. Again, it's not humid or anything like that. I mean, it's just as humid as my home is naturally, so I think around like 50% depending on the day, maybe up to 60. So it's not in like any special acclimation chamber or anything. And it's been fine. It does look like it's starting to push out a new leaf here, which is exciting. But I haven't looked at the roots at this one at all. To be honest, those are quite small. And not like the healthiest. They're not all bad, they're not all rotten or anything like that. They're definitely not perfect at the same time. So this is just gonna go back in the perlite. And I think I need to water it because this perlite feels quite dry compared to the others. Probably because it's not sitting in like a humid box. But yeah, I really don't know what to think about this plant. I have it in a place that's not touching anything else. Every time I handle it, I immediately wash my hands because I don't want to spread like mosaic virus throughout my collection because that would suck. So yeah, but I really don't know. I'll link the video that I watched that I linked in the other video down below about the Variegated Sodiroi scandal, but that's kind of all the information I can find online, unfortunately, so it's not the most helpful, and I'm trying to figure it out as I go. I will keep you updated if I figure it out, and if I do manage to get a test, I will film that for you, and we will do that together, because that might be fun. Anyways, yeah, that's it. That's the updates on all of my acclamations. Like I said, there's been good and bad, some really positive stuff, and some death. Overall, that's just what happens in an import, and I don't know if I would shop with Aroid Market again. They did very kindly send me these plants for free, so I'm very lucky in that. I don't know if I would shop with them again based off of the quality of their plants and the fact that they sold me a dead Dischidia and a plant that may or may not have a virus. And then when I asked them about it, they completely blanked me. So I don't know, I probably wouldn't shop with them again, but it is interesting to see how plants do over time, and hopefully I can get these to acclimate to my home nicely, and I will keep you updated in the future. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!